It's a
Test.
oh, hello. If the
All right,
party
we want to
moles-
encourage you to come on in and find a seat if you're going to stay with us for Preacher Pep Talk, session number 2. We enjoyed being with you yesterday. We appreciate all of you who are here, and we appreciate this program. We appreciate the congregations who are involved in making it possible, and it's always a great opportunity to see people who are dear to us. Personally, I see people that I don't get to see because I live in a different part of the country, and Dale doesn't let me come over here very often, but whenever I can, it's good, so thanks.
Well, there's a jury in the area, so you can come every now and then. These are such good programs. Thank you for being a part of it and for encouraging it. And it's good to see it growing some, and we appreciate Alan and the work he puts into it, and the folks here at Creve Hall and Concord Road and others who are part of it, and those of you who are vendors that are part of this. Thank you for helping make this happen. I've enjoyed every session I've sat in and learned from them. And in addition to that, more than that, I've enjoyed getting, as Jeff just said, to see some really, really good people that I love. And that's kind of one of the blessings of being part of the family of God. So, Jeff, I need some help.
All right, so yes, I know. He needs lots of help.
Need a lot of help.
All right, so yesterday we were talking about how can preachers stay and work with a church for a long period of time, and we kind of fleshed that out. And during the middle of that conversation, Dale brought up the thought about having mentors in our life, and we talked a little bit about that. And so the second session, we had decided that we would talk about mentoring. And when we look around this room, we see a number of people who are wonderful mentors. You've done a great job, and so some of this probably isn't going to be new to you. But the challenge from us is that if you are not mentoring, if you're a preacher or an elder or a leader in the church, or if you are a preacher's wife or an elder's wife, leader's wife in the church, we want to encourage you to get started, because the way that the church is going to continue to progress and to move forward and to be strong is for us to help future generations. And you can, when you get old like I am, there's not a lot of things that you can't always do the things that you used to be able to do or you want to do. But one of the things that we can always do is encourage people who are younger.
And I look forward to getting old like you are. But in the meantime, we're talking in this session about proactive mentoring. Some of you are awesome mentors, but some of you who are awesome mentors don't realize that you're good at it and how important it is that you become proactive in it, that you start deciding, I'm going to start looking for people to take under our wings. We've got a friend in Arkansas that when we were doing some mentoring work with some guys, said, I've got 5 young guys I'm already mentoring. He had identified individuals and decided to make an impact on their life. And I don't care your age in this. If you're 20, 25 years old and just getting started, there are 15 and 16-year-old guys out there that need mentors. They need somebody in their life that's going to come along beside them. And Jeff, good mentoring, good successful mentoring relationships go through several different stages. They go through preparation, negotiating, enabling growth, and closure. And those are, I think, important stages that you need to think about when you think about mentoring people.
So we're going to talk about several different aspects of this. We're going to talk about how to be a good mentor. We're going to talk about how to be a good mentee, because guess what? No matter how old we are, no matter how long we've been doing this, we can learn something from somebody else. And if you ever get to the point where you think you can't learn, that nobody can teach you anything, then you've got a real problem, and so do the people who work with you have a real problem.
That word mentee is interesting. Every time I hear it, I think like you put in your mouth, I don't know. We're going to talk. Yesterday, if you remember, I had to run out. I don't know if you noticed, I ran out. I got to my speaking engagement down in Alabama 3 minutes prior to time for me to step up there and speak. So I was rushed out. Today, Jeff's going to have to rush out because he's got a plane to catch. And I could have been late and they probably would have sung an extra song, but they probably won't sing an extra song if you're late to the plane.
I can't afford to be late for this.
You can't afford to be late.
All right, so let's begin. Top
You got to
10,
get there so they can delay the airplane.
top 10 things a good mentor does. Okay, top 10 things that a good mentor does. And by the way, if you know of something that's not on this list that we're about to give you, we would love to hear it from you because we share this with a lot of different people in a lot of different places. We're about to go to Ecuador in a couple of weeks and share with a couple of hundred preachers in Ecuador, and we're going to India and meet with a bunch of preachers. And so we want to give them the best information. So you help us out. Go.
So if you want to send us an email,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
What's the address? Top 10 list.
Top 10 list at gmail.com.
So we bought a new website. Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
If you send an email and we don't respond to it, that means that's the wrong email address. Okay, so send it to
TJI.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Number one, good mentors. A good mentor offers encouragement during challenging times. When you see a person going through some difficulty, the easy thing for us to do is sometimes to write them off or to ignore them or to say, man, I hate that they went through that. They're lost to the good of the kingdom. And that's just simply not true. A good mentor comes along beside a person those challenging times and says, listen, I want to help you through this. I want to help you this difficult time.
Or to think that somebody else is going to do it, or to think they don't really need my help. But chances are really good that there's somebody that you know right now who is struggling with something, and there's some preacher that you know who's going through some tough time. And so here's the challenge. Call them. Call them and reach out to them. If you know what they're dealing with, don't call somebody else and tell them. Call the person and talk to them. So number 2 on our list is that good mentors provide personal development tips, and they share not just knowledge but life experiences. Sometimes we tend to think if we share life experiences that it sounds like we might be bragging or we might be complaining, but the best advice that somebody can receive is from someone who has gone through something similar to what they're dealing with. So share good tips about personal growth, and share about something in your life that you've dealt with that will help them. And that's going to require time. That's going to require getting to know somebody. That's going to require investing in somebody's life. And so it's not always easy, but it'll be helpful and you'll be a blessing.
And if you're good at something, that probably didn't just happen. You probably went through a series of trial and error. You probably made a lot of mistakes along the way. And that's the life experience that person needs, that's trying to do something and not doing it well. They need somebody else that's tried to do it and not done it well for a while so that they can then develop on it. Number 3, good mentors discuss goal setting and I'm going to say aspirations. That's really not the best word to use here, but it's the word we're going to pick out. It concerns me a little bit sometimes when I see people that don't have any goals in life. And this seems to be a generational thing. And so we need guys who have kind of been through a little bit of life, to pull guys aside and say, listen, there's nothing wrong with desiring to be more and to do more and to make more of an impact than you're making now.
Number 4, good mentors advise on professional development. Yes. Dale and I have lots of really strange discussions, like last night when he got into the hotel, we started a discussion about midnight about something.
No, we started about 10:30 and went till about 12:30.
Well, it was late, I know that, and it was probably not something real fruitful. I don't know if it was or not. I'm still working on it. But here's the thing. There are people who you know who you will know about how they can become better at what they are doing. So we have one of our ongoing discussions is, can preachers become better? You know, do preachers reach a level where this is the best they can be and they just don't have the capability, or they don't have the heart, or they don't have the desire to do better? And so how can we help them if they've seemingly reached the ceiling? How can we help them? And so you probably know something that somebody else doesn't know that you can share. You can give them ideas about professional development, whether it's through classes they can take, through opportunities that might be available to them. We think that preachers ought to use the gifts that they have, and they ought to capitalize on the gifts that they have learned how to do well. And so we have got to always be growing. We can't ever quit growing. We can't ever stop developing. So a good mentor will advise people on personal development growth.
So they can get better, what you're saying. Number 5, good mentors identify and provide resources. We're living in a kind of unique time where you can, through AI and through technical tools that are out there, and I'm not saying you have to use AI to do this. There are other tools you can use, but they probably use the tools you use AI to let you use that tool. So that's just another story. But you can gather together more information and put it in a list and share it with people than we've been able to do in the past. And why in the world would any minister want to hold on to what he has and not share it with others if it's useful? So whatever you have, use it, share it, give it to other people. If it's beneficial, great. If it's not beneficial, they won't have to use it. But why would you hold on to something that might be useful to? The only reason would be ego.
Yeah, if you're not thinking about the kingdom at large, right? I mean, so look, if you're thinking about this as your own personal growth and your personal life, and somehow you want to be more popular and better than other people, you might not want to do that. But otherwise, you will want to do that because you want to help the kingdom. We're not always going to be around, and we want to leave as much information, as much help as we can. Good. Number 6, good mentors support the mentee's journey toward progress. So this is a simple way to say, if you're mentoring somebody, you should be proud when they do well. You should be proud because you've been of help to them. My children are much smarter than I am.
Yes.
Excuse
me, I say out loud.
They're much smarter than I am, and and I'm thankful that they are, and I applaud them when I get an opportunity. And so that's the way we ought to be when it comes to younger preachers and younger leaders. That we ought to be grateful when they do well, and we ought to let them know that we're proud of them, and we ought to applaud them. We ought to recognize them. I think that institutions who recognize their alumni who have done well, I think that's for the benefit of the kingdom, but it's also for the benefit of the institution. So be proud of people who do well, recognize them, and applaud them.
Number 7, good mentors are the reason this is important is a good mentor supports the mentee's journey. No. Is that what you just said?
That's the one.
That's one you said. So that's an example of growth for the mentee. I got it now. The good mentor sets an example of growth. So this is just kind of simple, but just because you're a certain age doesn't mean that you don't need to keep growing yourself. We talked about that a few minutes ago, but this desire you need to have. It's just, how dare us think that other people can get better, we can help them get better, and we don't realize that we still need to keep growing, keep getting better ourselves.
Yeah, and we can learn something from somebody who, there's a lot of young guys that know a lot of things that we don't know.
I learn all the time from young guys. Yeah. They know so much more than I do about so many things that are useful.
All right, number 8.
A clock on your VCR.
A good mentor listens. If we are trying to mentor someone and we do all of the talking and don't listen to them, we'll not be able to help guide them and give them the proper advice and give them the best that they need. And by the way, good preachers, strong preachers, and strong elders, and strong leaders, again, if you think about an academic situation, they're people who listen to other people. There are times that you walk into a room or an area, and it seems like that one person is controlling all the conversation, that they're trying to talk louder and over everybody else. But we never learn everything we need to learn, and we never will help everybody we need to help unless we're willing to listen. So practice listening. It's a crucial and vital key to helping people grow.
Number 9, good mentoring involves being a good mentor teaches. They teach. So the one aspect is the listening side, and you're not listening if every once in a while you don't learn something from someone else or get better at something because you've been around them. But the other side of it is, I know some guys that they hear people all the time and they never tell them what they need to hear back. They never teach them anything. And especially if you're a minister and you're trying to mentor a younger minister, sometimes you need to say to him, listen, that's not the way to do this. Don't do that. Do it differently. What you're doing will not be helpful. It will not help you. It won't help the kingdom. It won't help your work. It won't help your elders. And you think it will, but it's not going to. A good mentor sometimes has to teach.
And number 10, a good mentor will pray with and for the person they are mentoring. There's nothing that quite binds people together like prayer. When we spend time talking to God, when we talk to God about the concerns that the person has, we talk to God about our own concerns. So be willing to pray for and with the person you're mentoring. Last night, at the dinner, at the reception, there were some of us standing around talking, a group of people, and we were talking about a couple of people in this little circle of folks who were visiting, who are going through some health concerns right now. People who are dear to my heart. And one of the guys, preachers, who everybody in this room knows if I told you who it was, said, let's just stop right here and pray together. And we did right there. He led a prayer. And I thought, why don't we do that more? Why don't we pray together? If you're talking out in the lobby and somebody's telling you about a tough time they're going through, don't say, I'm going to be praying for you. I mean, say that, but why not pray for them right there, right then? There was an old cartoon I saw years ago, and a preacher was standing at the door, and he saw a guy walking through the foyer of the lobby. And he said, oh, there comes Bill. I told Bill I would pray for him this week. And he said, dear God, please bless Bill. And Bill walked up and he said, Bill, I've just been praying for you. Don't do it like that, okay? Pray for the person then. Spend time in prayer talking to God.
I'm glad I've never done that. Now, let's talk about why you should have a mentor. Quickly, there are 5 of these. We'll move through them quickly. Number 1, you should have a mentor because of the people you need in your life. Because you need people in your life. Surely the last few years has taught us how vital it is for us to have folks, to have real, genuine, human, live people in our life. Not people, on the other side of a screen, not your AI friend, not your computer, not YouTube, but people in your life. Because things happen with people that happen no other time. And Jeff, we don't need to go through that, but just real quick, 3 people everybody needs in their life.
All right, 3 real quick. Number 1, everybody needs a Paul in their life. Everybody needs an older person, older mentor who has done everything perfect, not somebody who always does it right, but somebody who has lived life and experienced life. Number 2, we all need a Barnabas in our life. We need somebody who can encourage us, somebody who's close to our same kind of life stage, who knows us, who's willing to say, look, you're not spending enough time with your wife, you're not spending enough time with your children. And then we all need a Timothy in our life, somebody who we're investing life our life in to help them. And if you look at it like that, mentoring becomes a forever kind of thing. The rest of your life, there are going to be people who you can help, and people who can help you.
Number two, we need mentors in our life. Yes, you should have a mentor in your life, because we all have blind spots. We all have blind spots. They can help us see what we can't otherwise see. And we need somebody in our life that can come to us and say to us, you're messing up here. You may not realize you're messing up here, but this is, I'm thinking of a friend of mine right now who's in a specific area of his life. He's really kind of messing up. And I've had 2 or 3 people say something to me about it. And I've got to go to him. I've got to say to him, listen, Jim, that's not his name. That would confuse him. I would call him Jim, I guess. But listen, Jim, the reality is you're messing up right here, and you need to learn how to do this better, or you're gonna crash. Somebody's got to. We get blind.
Number 3, we need mentors because we all face the demon of discouragement. And if you say, I've never had discouragement in my life, either you are lying, you're so old you've forgotten, or you're so young you haven't lived enough yet. But we all are going to go through times of discouragement in our life, and a good mentor will help us get through those times in our life. Probably every person in this room has gone through something that has really been tough on you in your life. And God has prepared, I believe, people to help us, to walk with us through those difficult situations in life. And we're going to face discouragement again. There's probably a preacher right now in this room who's going through a discouraging time. Maybe it's because of disagreements with leaders. Maybe it's because of family issues. Maybe it's because of health concerns. Maybe it's because you're afraid and worried about the future. I hope and want to encourage you to talk to somebody. Don't try to walk through those times by yourself. Somebody can help encourage you. And if you can't find anybody, you call us, and we will help you find someone, or we will do our best to help you. All of us need people to help us during times of discouragement.
Number 4, the wise man wrote about evil days. About evil days. We all have evil days. And by that, I don't mean days when we are evil. I mean days that are difficult in our life. You're going to go through a time where, because of a personal mistake you make, or because of how someone treats you, where you're not going to feel worth very much, where you're going to wonder if you should keep on, where you're going to wonder if you should keep on living sometimes, where you're going to wonder if you should keep on in ministry, whether if you have anything to offer anymore. And in those days, you can't start, well, you can, I guess, but that's not the best time to start reaching out to somebody. You need somebody in your life that's already walked through some good days with you, so that when those hard days come, you can lean on them, and they can know you, and they can understand. They may have been through the same things you're going through. They may have been through the same situations you've gone through. They may have faced the same hurt, the same disappointment, the same confusion that you're facing, and they can help you through it. That's the reason we need a mentor.
All right, number 5, why everybody needs a mentor. Okay, this we're not trying to step on anybody's toes, and I'll give a kind of a qualifying thought here. But no school can teach you what you are not ready to learn. Okay, no school can teach you what you're not ready to learn. In this room, we have some great men of God. I can't tell you personally how thankful we are for people like Dr. Mitch, and for people like Dr. Michael, and people like Carrie, and people like Scott, and I think I covered most people. Yes, okay. So, when we're 18 years old, 19 years old, I mean, I don't know what you remember about that, but when I look back on my college years, I like to slap myself for not, listening to what some of those teachers were saying.
I can do it for you now.
Yeah, you can. So here's the thing. So sometimes what happens is we get out of school and life hits us hard, right? And we learn, we get into ministry, and we think, okay, I remember in my first preaching job, a young man came to me and he said, my wife needs to talk to you. She's having issues about whether or not she needs to be rebaptized or something like that. And so I got out all my notes I was 22 years old, and I got out all my notes, and they came into my office, and he sat on the outside door, and she came in, and I remembered that the counseling teacher said, don't close the door with a woman in the office by yourself, so I didn't, and she said, I don't want him to hear this, but I'm not happy in my marriage. What am I supposed to do? And I thought, I don't remember covering that, in Counseling 101. But I'm thankful that there were people that I could reach out to. And so take the opportunity to try to learn things that you didn't learn when you didn't know that you needed to learn those things.
I used to blame our schools for that. And now I realize it's not really our school's fault. You can't teach what people aren't ready to learn. And I remember, Jeff, not similar, but I remember the first funeral that I ever did. We had studied it in preaching work. We had half a day on funerals and half a day on marriages. So that's a lot of training. But I mean, there's a limited period of time you have with these students, and that was covered. I didn't have a clue anything what to do, and they certainly didn't tell me what to do when they cranked up the backhoe and started filling in the grave the second I said amen. That was unusual. I grew up in Birmingham. You didn't do that in Birmingham. We were much more sedentary.
All right, so we talked about why you should have a mentor, and five thoughts about that. Now I want to share quickly 5 thoughts about why you should be a mentor. All right, so here we go. Why you should be a mentor, and if you're not, why we want to encourage you to start. Find somebody. I guarantee you there is a young man in the congregation where you work, where you serve as an elder, where you're a preacher. There's a young man, maybe many young men who need you. So why you should be a mentor?
Oh, I'm taking number 1.
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are younger men who need to learn from your experiences. They need for you to say to them, I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and here's the experience I had. They need to learn to laugh about inefficiencies, about inabilities. They need to see that. Number 2,
there are younger men who are going to face hard days just like you have, and they'll desperately need someone to turn to. So we've kind of talked about that a little bit, but there are people who are going through some tough times, and you can remember what you went through as a younger person, and you can remember some of the experiences that you had, and you can help them. You can help them be able to grow, help them be able to learn, help them to be able to get through. So they're younger men who are going to need you when they go through tough times.
Number 3, you get something from this. They help you to process the challenges that you're facing in ministry and to think through those things. Sometimes when somebody says something to you, it's like, that forced me to think about something that I would not have otherwise thought about. I had someone ask me a Bible question not long ago, and it's one I'd never considered, and it forced me to go into a text I'd not gone into. So when it comes to being a mentor, when that mentee is going through something, it might help you to process something in your own ministry.
All right, number 4, because mentees help us pass on the skills that we've learned through ministry to a new generation. It's really easy sometimes to say, well, this younger generation, they just don't get it. Or to say this younger generation, they're not going to survive. Or this younger generation of preachers, they don't do things the way we did them, so they don't know what they're doing. Sometimes we're tempted to say that, and it's easy to say that. But as a person who is trying to mentor others, we can help pass on the skills that we have learned, the gifts that we've received to a new generation. A new generation. It's hard to swallow as we get older, the fact that there's people who are coming up who are behind us, who are younger than us, and they're going to do better than we are. In our heart, we want that to be true. but it's hard sometimes to swallow that. So be willing to pass on to a new generation to help future generations.
So here's something that's I want to mention along those lines. Here's one way ministry is different than most any other field out there. As a minister, you want the next guy to be better than you are. A good coach, he wants to be remembered as the greatest coach that ever coached, right? Roll Tide. That just came out. I don't know why. But literally, every coach wants to be the greatest coach ever. A good politician, they want to be the greatest governor of the state's ever had, the greatest president, the greatest whatever. They want to be known as the greatest. Any good preacher worth his salt wants the next generation to be better than we are. And so number 5 on our list kind of plays into that. I believe seeing younger men who want to excel, who want to do what we have done in their life, gives us hope, and it helps us to remain optimistic about the future of the Lord's church. I am as optimistic about the church, about the future of the church as I've ever been. God, keep me from being a crotchety old man that thinks that the future is going to be horrible because I'm not in it. How horrible is that for us to have that kind of mentality that everything in the future is bad? I've met preachers, and they think because things aren't done the exact same way they're done when they were younger, they're mad at everything going on around them. And I think that's awful. Be happy, be excited when there's somebody out there trying to do what you're doing.
All right, so we've talked about the why we should be a good mentor or why we could be a good mentee. Let's talk about for a minute the how. So first of all, let's talk about how you can be a good mentee, a person who is being mentored by someone else. Number 1, show up. Show up. If you agree that you will spend time with somebody who will help you, who is older, chances are they have a fairly busy life already. If they're willing to do something like this, they're probably busy. And so be there. Be there to listen to them. Be there to learn from them. Show up if you have a meeting set up. Show up. We started a program several years ago, and we call it 222 Mentoring. And it comes from 2 Timothy 2, verse 2. And we've probably had a couple of hundred young men who have gone through the program, and we've had, that means there's probably been several hundred older men who have helped with that. And by the way, if you've never been a part of that and you're interested, let us know. But one of the things that we often hear from some of the people who are trying to mentor is, this guy, we made an appointment, he didn't show up. And one guy said he didn't show up for like 3 months in a row for meetings that we had. So you can be a good mentee by being willing to show up.
Number 2, seek input. Seek input. Ask. Listen, I need help in this area. And that's kind of a biblical thing to ask, and it also works. Usually an older preacher, if somebody goes to him and says, hey, I need some help, they're willing to help. So seek input.
Number 3, share challenges that you're dealing with in your life. Be transparent. Now, we believe that this particular thought is going to require some time. We have to feel like we can trust somebody before we're willing to share with them what's going on in our life. We have to be willing to let our guard down a little bit, and so we want to trust someone, but be willing to build that kind of relationship. Nobody should have to go through difficulties and trials in their life by themselves. And if you don't have somebody like that in your life, we want to encourage you to find a couple of people and build that relationship that you're willing to be open and transparent with.
So number 4, we're talking about how to be a good mentee. Number 4, signify appreciation. Let the guy know that you appreciate him. Thank him for the time he's put into it. He may feel like he's not being effective, and you may think he's really giving me a lot of information. I'm just absorbing all this information. If you don't ever respond back and say, listen, this really helped me at this point, that was really useful, he may drop out just because he feels like he's not doing any good, and not because he feels like he's wasting his time. He just doesn't feel like he's being effective, so let him know.
Yeah, and I would say if you build the right kind of relationship, you can be willing to say, this is not very helpful too, Number 5, act on what you're learning. Be willing to, if you need to make some changes in your ministry, if you need to make some changes in your schedule, if you need to make some changes in your life, be willing to act. Be willing to do something about what this person who is investing their time and energy into you gives to you. And you say, well, I've never done it that way before. Now, if you're young and you say that, that sounds like an old person. I've never done it that way before. Be willing to change a little bit if you need to. So act on what you're learning, act on what you're hearing.
Number 6, remember your mentor is a volunteer. A lot of things go into that. One, remember that he probably has other stuff he does. I can remember one of my first mentors when I got into preaching was Glenn Posey. And I would go to his office in Coleman, Alabama, and I'd just sit there, just hoping he would say something useful, and he often did. And I'd never thought about, he's probably got other things he needs to be doing than having some kids sit here with him. So I now try to remember when I've got a mentee in my life, a mentor in my life, that guy's got time on himself. He can't devote 24 hours to me. If he doesn't answer the phone immediately, it's all right. Give him some time. Say, hey, I need to talk to you. Set levels. This is a level 10. I need to talk to you right now. Now, if everything's a level 10, then nothing's a level 10. But realize, and the other part of that is, realize they probably have some experience in this, and it might be worth listening to them if they tell you something different than what you expect to hear. If all you want is somebody to mirror what you're asking, just talk to ChatGPT. It'll tell you right every time, right? So just stop it. Go on and sometimes say, listen, that's not how I thought this was. Thank you. I'm going to need to change my way of thinking on this.
Number 7, closely attached to this last idea, is take responsibility for your own learning. Be willing to, look, a mentor can't do everything for you. Nobody else can. So you've got to learn, and you've got to be willing to do something about it. And ultimately you're responsible for this. If you get in trouble with the elders, you can't go say, well, Dale Jenkins told me this. That'll get you in more trouble. So you got to take responsibility for your own actions. You got to take responsibility for your own decisions, and you need to learn to do that and be willing to do that.
Anytime Jeff says building on that last point, what he's really saying is, Dale, you stepped on what I was supposed to be saying, and now I've got to clean it up. So that's how it works. Inside information. Number 8, develop trust. Develop trust. That relationship, just because you have a relationship, doesn't mean there's trust that is automatically there. Sometimes it takes some time to develop some trust between you and a mentor, you and a mentee, and just give it some time. You got to nurture a little bit. You've got to communicate. You've got to talk back and forth. You've got to listen to each other. It's just a relationship, all it is.
Okay, Dale, we're about out of time.
I know we've
Let's
got 2
talk about
minutes
how to be an effective mentor. What are the traits of a good mentor? We've talked about why we need mentors. We've talked about why we need to be mentees. We've talked about how we're good mentees. So how to be a good mentor. Number 1, availability. Effective mentorships take time. Most of those who you mentor will not, they'll not always ask, but you need to be willing to give them time. And don't sign up to do this if you're not willing to spend time that will help someone.
Number 2 is acceptance. There'll always be plenty of well-meaning people, both inside and outside the church, and especially on the peripherals of the church, who will be skeptical. There'll always be people who will take a wait-and-see posture. You remember those who say, prove your worth, and then we'll accept you. Young preachers desperately need some people in their lives who will accept them for who they are, love them, and care for them immediately.
Number 3, accountability. And this skill works both ways. First, you've got to be willing to be held accountable yourself. Just because you're a mentor doesn't mean you've arrived. It doesn't mean you know everything. It doesn't mean you're always right. And please be careful about trying to come across that way, particularly to somebody who you're trying to make a strong spiritual impression on their heart. Don't let them think that you're always right, that you always do things the way they should be done.
Number 4, advice. One of the superpowers of the highly effective mentor is ability to give advice knowing that sometimes that person that you're giving advice to either is not ready to accept that advice, won't act on that advice, or will do exactly the opposite of what you said, then you still need to care for them, still need to pour into them, even when they don't accept your advice. Some lessons we don't learn without experiencing them.
And then the last thing on our list is an abundance of humility. We can talk about how we are not, you can say, I know I'm not a humble person. I know I need to do better at this, or we can downplay the importance of humility, but the fact remains the Bible teaches us that God is opposed to the proud. He's opposed to the proud. So we're not going to be able to help people if we don't have some humility in our life, and if we ever think we've arrived and we know everything, and everything that we say and everything that we do is right. So if you humility, I don't believe is a gift from God. I believe it's something that we have to practice. I believe it's something that we have to work on. It's not, God doesn't make some people humble and others not humble. It's are we willing to submit to God, to His will, to His word?
Thank you for listening. Thank you for letting us be a part of this. And Jeff, thank you for letting me work with you. It's been fun today. And yesterday was fun too.
Let's have a prayer together. Father, we thank you for our time together these past 2 days. We thank you for this conference and for the churches who make it available. We're thankful for each person who's in this room right now. We're thankful for every preacher of the gospel. We're thankful for all of the men and women who teach preachers and who encourage them and who help them. We're thankful for the wives of the preachers who stand beside them and who walk with them. We're thankful for elders who are in this room and for their shepherd's hearts and for their leadership and for their wives who stand beside them and support them. Father, help us. Help us to realize that we're all in this together, that none of us are better than anyone else, that none of us are more important than anyone else, but that we desperately need one another. And so help us to grow in our relationships, help us to build stronger relationships. And Father, we pray that the people who are in this room will every day become even a more mighty force for you and for your kingdom and for your people. Thank you again for all that you do for us. We ask that you'll keep us safe in our travels. We ask that you'll bless our loved ones who are away from us. Help us to glorify you in all that we do. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen.